Yeah, Adam Silver is not gonna let there be a lockout. Adam Silver is absolutely not going to let there be a WNBA lockout. The man is already making plans.
The WNBA just got hit with its biggest shock yet. Reports are flying that Caitlin Clark has a massive offer from China. It's so huge that it could make her walk away from the league entirely. What do you think? If you were Caitlin Clark, would you take that kind of money and go global, or would you stay loyal to the WNBA and help build it up from the inside? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Seriously, another day, another headline that has the WNBA front office absolutely sweating.
Dang, dang, dang. So this is what it's come to. This is what it's come to. Adam Silver's had to come in and say, hold up. You stay right there. You stay right there. I got to break up all this fighting and all this foolishness going on. Adam Silver has had to insert himself to make sure that there's no strike, no lockout, and to ensure that there is a 2026 WNBA season with future plans to also head to...
Look, Caitlin Clark, the biggest name in women's basketball, reportedly just got hit with a huge overseas deal from China. We're talking about a number so high that insiders are calling it life-changing money. And honestly, it kind of makes sense. Adam Silver himself is talking about bringing WNBA games to China. So you know the interest and the money are totally real over there. But this isn't just any overseas offer. This could be the one that changes everything for good. Word is, Chinese investors who are working super close with the NBA and the CBA under that new multi-year partnership Adam Silver announced. They want Caitlin Clark to headline their global women's basketball expansion series. Translation: they don't just want her to play some games, they want her to be the face of this whole movement. We're talking massive sponsorships, huge brand deals, and appearance fees that could easily hit 8 figures. Some folks are even saying she could earn more in one season overseas than she would in 5 entire WNBA contracts combined. And if you're wondering how that's even possible, it's just simple math. Honestly, the WNBA still pays its stars peanuts compared to their actual value. Caitlin Clark made roughly $76,000 last season, and some NBA players make more than that in one quarter. Meanwhile, a single international event in China could pay her $500,000 just for showing up. So, of course, when fans started hearing whispers about this China offer, the internet just exploded. Half the fans were screaming, "Take it and run." The other half were like, "Don't you dare leave. The WNBA needs you." And that's exactly where things get messy. Because this isn't just about the money. This is about loyalty, about control, and honestly, the entire future of women's basketball itself. Let's start with the money. China's basketball market is absolutely massive. The NBA has spent years rebuilding its relationship with the Chinese Basketball Association after that whole situation in 2019 involving Daryl Morey's Hong Kong tweet.
Basketball, it's symbolic of a massive business opportunity. And I got to talk to Adam Silver during a break in the game about growing this sport beyond the roughly 500 million fans the NBA already has in the country.
Amazing fan base in China. Certainly, while we didn't play here for several years, we never really left. I mean, our games were televised here the entire time, and interest has continued really unabated in the games themselves.
When you're looking at China and you have roughly 500 million fans, more than the population of the United States, where is your vision for the NBA in this country?
Listen, we announced
Adam Silver has been carefully putting all those pieces back together. And now, he's basically taking that exact same strategy and pointing it right at the WNBA. He actually said it himself, just last week, while sitting courtside in Macau. He mentioned they've got to get through a new collective bargaining agreement with the players. But once that's done, he said there's so much interest in women's basketball here that he'd love to bring a WNBA game to Macau or mainland China.
The largest market. We have to get through a new CBA agreement with our players, and arguably you could say the largest market in the NBA. Had to get a new CBA with our players, but once we do, there's so much interest in women's basketball here, I think we'd love to bring WNBA again to Macau or to mainland China. When asked when the WNBA could head to China, Silver...
That quote alone set the internet on fire.
Why? Well, because all that interest in China means massive money for whoever's smart enough to get there first. And who do they want as that first person? Caitlin Clark, of course. She's already the face of the league. She's the main reason the WNBA is breaking TV ratings records. Plus, she's the one player who can sell out arenas everywhere she goes. So, it's not surprising the Chinese sponsors want her. They see her value, something the WNBA still hasn't really figured out. They're not just offering her a contract to play basketball. They're talking about a brand ambassadorship, huge marketing deals, and the kind of global spotlight that could make her the most famous women's athlete on earth. To put it in perspective, WNBA MVPs who went overseas to play in China or Russia used to make anywhere from $1 to $2 million per year. But here's the thing, Caitlin Clark isn't just another MVP. She's basically an entire economy. Her jersey sales broke WNBA records before she even played a single game. Her college games were pulling in Super Bowl-level viewership, and her presence in the league has single-handedly doubled ticket sales for multiple teams. So, when China comes knocking with what looks like a blank check, nobody is actually shocked. The real question is, will she take it? Because the WNBA, and especially Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, cannot afford to lose her right now. Seriously, the timing is just terrible for Engelbert. She's already dealing with public backlash, angry players who are threatening a strike, and fans actually booing her at championship ceremonies. And now she has to worry about losing the one player who's keeping the entire league relevant. Yeah, that's bad. But on top of that, it's also kind of her own fault. Because if the WNBA paid its stars what they deserved, this wouldn't even be a conversation. Instead, players like Caitlin Clark have to rely on sponsorships and speaking gigs just to make real money. Meanwhile, Adam Silver is over in China, securing billion-dollar partnerships and shaking hands with investors who actually see value in women's basketball. You just can't make this up. Cathy Engelbert talks about growing the game, but Adam Silver is literally out here expanding it across continents. And that's where the power shift becomes so incredibly clear. If Caitlin Clark accepts this offer, or even publicly considers it, everything changes, because it would send one very loud message. The WNBA doesn't control its stars anymore. It would show that they can make more money, get more exposure, and have a bigger impact outside the league than inside it. That's what absolutely terrifies the league office the most. Because once Caitlin opens that door, every other star is going to start looking for one too.
Angel Reese, Sabrina Ionescu, Anja Wilson.
They'd all have options. The WNBA wouldn't be the top of the mountain anymore. It would just be one of many stops on a global basketball tour. And ironically, that's exactly what Adam Silver wants long-term. His whole plan is to make women's basketball truly global, just like the NBA did decades ago. Expand to Europe, play tournaments in Asia, create international fan bases. But here's the twist. Silver doesn't want the WNBA stars leaving the league to do it. He wants to bring the league to them. So while China is throwing literal bags of money at Caitlin Clark, Silver is working quietly behind the scenes trying to make sure that bag comes through the WNBA instead of around it. He knows what's at stake here. If Caitlin goes solo, the WNBA looks weak. But if she stays and helps build this global push, everybody wins. That's the battle happening right now. It's not just about money, it's about control. The league wants to keep Caitlin Clark as their foundation, China wants her as their front page, and Adam Silver wants both.
The NBA is looking to make a comeback in mainland China and testing the waters after a multi-year hiatus just around backlash around Hong Kong's 2019 pro-democracy protests. Our contestant Brew.
Now here's where things get really interesting. Sources are saying this offer from China didn't just come out of nowhere. You know, it actually came directly after Silver's comments about bringing the WNBA to Asia very soon. What's crazy is within 48 hours of that statement, several major Chinese sports agencies reportedly reached out to Clark's reps. They pitched her this opportunity to become the face of women's basketball in Asia, with a guaranteed multi-million-dollar deal that includes appearances, endorsements, and exhibition games. If that's true, it would make Caitlin Clark the highest-paid women's basketball player in the entire world. Just let that sink in for a second. Not just in the WNBA, not just in the US, but globally. And that's what makes this story so explosive. Everyone is watching this right now. The fans, the sponsors, even the NBA. If she takes this deal, the ripple effect could be massive. You'd see more players looking overseas, more leagues would try to recruit US stars, and the WNBA would be scrambling to prove it can actually compete financially. But if she turns it down, she instantly becomes this hero of the league. She'd be the player who chose loyalty over luxury, and that would give her even more power at the negotiating table when the next CBA deal gets signed. Either way, Caitlin Clark wins. But you know who the same can't be said for? Cathy Engelbert. Because whether Clark leaves or stays, it just proves how totally out of touch the WNBA leadership has become. Players are literally being offered life-changing money elsewhere, while the league is still arguing over charter flights and bonuses. That's not leadership. That's just survival mode. Meanwhile, Adam Silver's over in Macau talking about how the future is global, and with or without Cathy Engelbert, he's making it happen. So the only question now is, will Caitlin Clark be part of that future as a WNBA ambassador, or as the face of Chinese basketball? Because one thing's for sure, if this offer is real, it's not going away quietly. The WNBA is officially in panic mode, because this isn't just a rumor anymore. It's turning into a full-blown reality check for the entire league. Behind closed doors, team owners and executives are reportedly scrambling. They know that if Caitlin Clark even hints at accepting this offer, the whole foundation of the WNBA could start shaking. She's not just a star, she's the one holding the spotlight, the sponsors, and the ratings all at once. And that's exactly why China came calling. Let's be honest, no one over there is paying $5 million for an exhibition game between random WNBA backups. They want Caitlin Clark. They saw those viral college games. They saw the sold-out arenas. They saw her turn Indiana Fever games into must-watch events on ESPN. Now they want that same magic, but in Shanghai, Beijing, or Macau. And that's why this offer is so dangerous for Cathy Engelbert and her team. Because the truth is, the WNBA simply can't match that kind of money. Not even close. Even with the new $2.2 billion media deal coming up, the league's budget still runs tight. And with players demanding bigger cuts from that revenue, there's no way they can afford million-dollar player contracts overnight. So, if Caitlin Clark wants to play in China, no one can really stop her. The WNBA can't ban her. They can't fine her. She's a free agent during the off-season. She could take the deal, play internationally for 6 months, and come back richer than the entire Indiana Fever roster combined. And that's the nightmare the league doesn't want, because once she opens that door, every other top player is going to look for the same deal. Angel Reese, Sabrina Ionescu, even Aja Wilson, they'd all start getting calls too. And suddenly, the WNBA wouldn't be the top league for women's basketball anymore. It would just be the American version of it. That's the risk. And it's not like this hasn't happened before either. Decades ago, top WNBA players like Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner went overseas to Russia and China for one reason: money. Back then, teams like UMMC Ekaterinburg were paying stars more in one season than they made in their entire WNBA careers. The only difference, those deals were quiet. They weren't this public, and social media wasn't around to turn it into a worldwide story. Now it's all over Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Everyone's talking about it, tagging Caitlyn, and asking the same question. Would you take the money? And honestly, who could blame her if she did? She's already changed women's basketball forever. She brought in millions of new fans. She made the WNBA relevant again. And yet she still earns less than what some assistant coaches make in the NBA. It's insulting. So, when a Chinese team backed by NBA partners, huge brands and government support comes in, offering her tens of millions, it's hard to call that anything other than an opportunity. Even Adam Silver's comments make it clear. He's planning for global growth, not just survival. He said it himself. Very soon, the WNBA will be in China. And if that's true, maybe Caitlyn doesn't even have to quit the WNBA. Maybe she just becomes the first face of that expansion. Maybe she's the bridge between American basketball and Asia. That would make her not just a star, but an international ambassador for the sport. But let's be real, Cathy Engelbert doesn't want that narrative, because if Silver's global vision comes true, it makes her look even more useless than she already does. The fans already booed her during the finals, the players barely trust her. And now, her biggest star might literally go overseas for a better deal. If that happens, her time as commissioner might be over, because the owners won't tolerate another PR disaster, especially one that involves losing their main draw. And that's why you're seeing all these sudden anonymous leaks coming out about how negotiations are improving and progress is being made. They're trying to calm people down. They're trying to show that the WNBA still has control of the situation. But in reality, they don't, because right now, Caitlyn Clark has all the power. Every move she makes, every post she uploads, every brand she works with, it all sets the tone for the league. She's not just a player anymore, she's the entire marketing engine. And that's exactly why China's offer is such a problem. It exposes how weak the WNBA's structure really is. The league's success depends too much on one player. And when that player starts getting outside offers that the league can't match, the illusion of stability just disappears. Adam Silver knows this. That's why he's stepping in quietly behind the scenes, making sure that if Caitlyn does play in China, it happens under the WNBA's umbrella, not outside of it. Because Silver's no fool. He knows losing Caitlyn to an independent overseas league would be a massive PR disaster. But turning her international journey into a WNBA global initiative, that's genius. It turns a problem into progress. It makes it look like part of the plan. And it gives Silver another win, while Engelbert tries to play catch-up. Now, whether Caitlyn actually takes this offer, that's still up in the air. Her camp hasn't confirmed anything yet. But the fact that this conversation is even happening tells you how much things have changed. Women's basketball isn't waiting for approval anymore. It's expanding, with or without the WNBA's permission. And if the league doesn't move fast, Caitlyn Clark might be the first to prove that a single player can actually be bigger than the league itself. So there it is. Caitlyn Clark is facing the biggest offer of her career, and the WNBA is facing its biggest test yet. Would you take the deal if you were her, or would you stay and keep building the league? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like and make sure to subscribe, because this story is just getting started.